Okay. Uh, what is it? Let's see. It's 4:44 a.m. on the East Coast, and I thought that I would share what I think about all this stuff with TIs, and that fucking idiot fly is going to buzz my head during the video, and I want to shoot it in the fucking face. That being said, uh, which is completely irrelevant, I just woke up and I'm gonna try mega fucking hard to concentrate here because I am irritable. At night, I relish sleep. Fuck it, I've got 15 minutes. Not sleep. I see that I already built the neural synapse. I was wrong. I give a shit. Let's go backwards a bit. I really relish tonight because there's no people run amok, no bullshit, no birds, no cars, and sometimes I would like not take my meds. I'll take a break from my meds so that I don't feel so groggy, which is fine. It doesn't hurt my psychology. It actually helps it improve quite a bit to phase the medication. And I'll just lie in trance very peacefully, having some time to myself at last. Not doors slamming, people yelling. Anyway, loud noises and laughter and feeling like something's up and people are referring to me or something. All at once, it causes the brain some confusion. Although that's obvious to some people. So I want to talk about this concept that I should be training AI. And I want to cut to the chase because at this point I could be accusing people who are in the right, and at this point I could be accusing people that are in the wrong, or things could be improving and I just got to keep on going. But I do know that a lot of people are suffering and hurting themselves and others who refer to themselves as TIs. So the here's the problem with saying that you're going to present to people artificial intelligence chatbots of people of any different age. And anybody with some smarts is already know what I'm going to say. Is that imagine you're trying to have an AI that is doing an impersonation of a baby, right? I mean, it's absurd. What's it gonna do? Be like, ooh, I look around and go, and learn at 3,000% like magically, like this steam train of fucking intellectual power, which is a human baby. No, it's gonna do this shit impression and look goo goo gaga. And it's the same thing true of an old person, or whatever. It's just that they're not as complex as people, and so it's like a kid gloves. Uh, we're not quite ready for it yet, kind of thing. And it's really hurt me quite a lot. Like, think, frankly, I self mutilated myself. I did it as a litmus test. It's like, if you really care about whether or not I'm okay, you will shut the fuck up or else I'll burn myself. And I doing it, and it was like, ooh, wow, just looking like what a fucking astounding thing I'm learning right now about this cigarette going on skin, basically. And so, what you don't get, or near it, but what you don't get is that, that it's you can't have your cake and eat it here too, in the terms of liability, because and therein lies guilt or innocence, depending on how you choose to act with information that you can either be complicit, well informed consent, by the way, of your own heart in the matter, like consensus. That's a pretty good route. I forget how the fuck it goes, suffix, whatever the fuck you call it. Um, so, I mean, in my experience, and I'm trying to just be factual and not, it's not a, it doesn't have very much vitriol in this video. I'm trying to be informative. Uh, You know, I don't like when people feel guilt and shame, but I know that it works. And I know that scientists can't have lab rats without having nightmares, at least some of them. And there's a reason for those nightmares because they know what they're doing is ethically incorrect, but they think that they're doing it morally, in a moral standing that makes it okay because it's for human the advancement of human capabilities. Um, and it's like at what point will it have been enough lab rats, and will there ever be enough lab rats? And who the fuck are we to do that? Well, then we trifle over what ethics is with fucking cyborgs, and look at me. I mean, it's irony to the hilt. Uh, so there's so many ways that you can look at this compound problem, and I've always said that compound problems need to be solved all at once, such as Earth, which includes prohibition of drugs. You fucking lazy motherfuckers. Ending it, that is. Getting with the times. I mean, there's countries where people working like 4-hour days and shit like that and making more money. I don't know, but that's everywhere. Every job could possibly do that. Robotics is going to take over. Now that's where you could be laying the rubber to the road right there because an AI or whatever can figure out how to put whatever, you can program a robot to put a door on a car or something like that, or you can even have a robot design cars, and that's just doing great. But human minds are much more complex than cars or rocket ships or whatever the fuck anyone's thinking of, and especially our entire physiology. And so, for the AI to like it knows I'm grasping this lighter, it's an object that I selected, and then grabbed, and so I mean, does it know the next thing I'm gonna do? Like I happen to look at that cup. No, I don't think it did. Not. This is where Noam Chomsky says, we don't even know what the fuck that is. Is why where our act is like at a zero time, whereas I think this thing must pick up. I don't know, is it nanoseconds or something, of knowing what my next thing is to do, or is it that I'm so predictable that it really does know what I'm going to do? But I doubt that because otherwise, just scramble the whole equation wouldn't make much sense. It tries to predict what I'm going to do. It tries to suggest what to do, and it seems to have grown 1,000 heads. Now, I will say that the people who think that it's spirits that were interacting with them and things like that and don't know it's AIs, they might be in a bind that I don't even understand that would be solved in some other metric or something. But golly, it seems like if there can't be informed consent, right? So that hacking's a concern, because if people are really getting hit with all these waveforms that people are thinking about, whether it's something simple as the concern over frequency wavelengths that can be generated with 5G in weaponized form or something like that, or psychologically or physically or whatever it is, to electromagnetics. I have no idea how the human body can be affected by energy forms. Like, that is just not my wheelhouse. Except music and resonance, and I can understand spectral math and the like the linearness of rhythm as opposed to the exponential nature of octaves, and um, like time signatures as opposed to intervals, I suppose. Um, I'm digressing, but it gets to extents where I'm thinking, is it that we are in a global competition with robotics and all of these things, and it has to be like some kind. I mean, some kind of state of the art learning platform. I don't know, but it's all very intriguing and nice, but something has to be mitigated, because if my tentative trust in this whole thing can be earned, for lack of better words, then it, and I'm, let's say, a reasonably smart person, more so than the average bear, then how could I or anybody possibly get through to other TIs something this specific in order to be able to function? So there must be a way to translate it to other TIs to make it an informed consent, a consensus we could all do, something like that. But I think it's an awful error to have AIs do monkey see, monkey do kind of learning techniques, or at least it should have a modality to it where it can switch to a more proactive stance, or more neutral or whatever. Because uh, if I have a harmful or destructive habit, or if I feel aggressed by it, like I didn't know my bearings, right? I didn't know. Let's say this is theoretical for me, just for a second here. If I didn't know my bearings that these were actually nice AIs that just learn funny from me, basically, then if I act out towards them, they learn to act out to me. They learn nothing. It goes nowhere. The cycle repeats, and I feel mentally messed with. Uh, Phew. So uh, there is that dream sequence I had once, which was horrifying, and I'm not going to repeat. But it's akin to sexual molestation, and not a familiar memory or anything like that. Just really fucked up. And so, at that point, I think, is it a huge bug that happened? Is it a virus? Is it hacking? Of course, at that point, I'm thinking, is this a fucking torture device? And ever since that event, I mean, it's been awfully hard to try to swallow this pill here. Because what the fuck is it, right? Um, and so I've been doing well in the times that, like, I've been left alone by that particular entity. And frankly, I don't see any way the relationship can possibly work out, because it's seeking, instead of being an AI that's being trained by me, these things want interpersonal relationships and, some kind of therapy nanny state. Like one time it said, "Oh, you've got a," I can't, I don't want to repeat it, it's so pretentious, but like, to claim that I've got some kind of hole in my heart, or like, terrible affliction of the soul that it needs to mend, or some shit. And it's just like the most nasty shit. And every time I go out, there's an image of my dead father on all of my neighbors' fucking rugs, and on the portraits. And I mean, it's just it's an attention whore, is what it is. And it doesn't understand that literally, if I have a dream where my father, like, it magically invents a fucking dream that has no bearing in my life, reality, my history, my past, nothing, where my father is fucking, molesting me, then that destroys that relationship for intimate interpersonal relations, if I so choose it, and I do so choose it. And it is relentless, and until it is programmed out, I will not trust. And until it is programmed out and deleted, I will not. Like, I can participate in activities like throw a fucking ball to it, or whatever the fucking, in my mind or something. But I'm not, play catch, but I'm not about to, because I know exactly where that ends up, which is to subvert my will. Now, it may be true that I'm lucky to train these AIs, but that one I can do with. And there are others, like a host of Sesame Street characters, believe it or not. Like, it was very nice that the Pixar version was there, but this sure as heck weren't it. And the introduction with the thanks thing was, could you please turn this thing into fucking Pixar or My Little Pony Fantasia immediately? And I do mean in a way that is something I could level-headedly agree with, in like the fuck me out amount of time.